first in the webinar series, the first session was about differential calculus. So that differential calculus, actually in that differential calculus, we saw the derivatives, differentiation. So any equation which involves those derivatives along with some variables, that is called differential equation. So today we are going to see some concepts, that is which are very essential to take up further study of differential equations. That is what we are going to see in this session. The differential equation, actually it is involved, it is evolved naturally wherever there is movement or growth or such things. uh, there exists differential equation. So without differential equation, actually nothing is there. Whenever we want to know the trend, we want to study the trend. For example, even now many scientists and doctors are actually, they are worried about this COVID-19, and here the growth is increasing day by day, and still many studies are going on at the back. That is, they collect the data and they form the equation differential. There only they see the differential equation. And so why we want to solve this differential equation? To know the trend of the position, that is of the movement. So whether it will decrease, increase, how far it will increase, how far the spread will increase, when it will decrease, when it will come to an end. So this is the question in mind, everybody's mind. And differential equation is very much necessary in the world. So actually, we are going to see the history, from the history. So you will come to know that even in the 17th century, it has been started. The study of the differential equation has been started. Now here we are seeing something, some figure. This is nothing but this is a heat transfer in a pump casing. So actually this is created by solving the heat equation. So we know that heat is being generated internally in the casing. Say whenever you iron casing and all, you heat it, it will be the heat will spread, and so it will concentrate on the center, and it will be being cooled in the boundary. This is a partial differential equation. So now we shall see about the introduction. Actually, from birth to death, we have differential. So how do you say that from birth to death? Let us see. Now, in a village, so the population increases continuously at the rate proportional to the number of its inhabitants present at any time. That is, when a birth is happened, the population will increase. Okay. So now, so that if the population of the village was 20,000 in 1999 and 25,000 in the year 2004. So within 5 years, they are taking the data. What will be the population of the village in 2009? Actually, only data we can collect from the practical world. So that data alone, with that data alone, we have to predict something. So whatever we want to predict, we need at the starting point, we need only data. We need only. Hello, participants, kindly mute yourself. Okay. Now, so this kind of a problem can be solved using differential equation. That is, when you want to predict what will be the population of a certain place in the future. Because based on the birth, we cannot say, because their death also is involved. So now in death, so both are interrelated, but when you want to study about death, how differential equation is going to help us. See, suppose if you are a doctor and you are taking the temperature of a dead body at 11:30 p.m. It was you find it to be 94.6 Fahrenheit. And again, after 1 hour, you are taking that is 93.4 Fahrenheit. You find. And Sujata ma'am, is the screen visible, ma'am?
Ma'am, there is some window coming in between.
Yes, ma'am. That is why I am unable to see what.
Yeah, now it is okay, ma'am. Now it is
now
okay.
it is okay, but on and off it is coming. I don't know why.
Ma'am, I think it is the cursor position.
Cursor position.
I think cursor only it is displaying that.
No, actually one more. Now the screen is in the bottom, right?
Okay,
bottom.
ma'am. Now it is okay, ma'am.
Now it is okay. Okay, ma'am. Okay. So now, so if the temperature of the room now see you are taking the temperature at 11:30 and you find something, and then again after 1 hour you are taking the temperature, you find it to be 93. That is, it is reduced. Now, so there is a room temperature also, that also we have to take it as a factor. So it was 70 Fahrenheit. Estimate the time of the death. So when it would have happened. So now this problem can be solved using a differential equation. And of course, we are assuming that the normal body temperature is 98.6. Okay, so this is how birth and death process can be solved using differential equation. So what we mean by that, from birth to death. So even in the middle, whatever the process is happening in the birth, so we will be able to use differential equations to solve or to find out or to predict whatever we want. So that is how the world is moving on. So now here you can see a simple pendulum, right? So this pendulum, actually it has got the force is there, force is acting on that, and with an angle of alpha of t. So that we can see in the here you can see that the wave is formed according to the movement of this pendulum, this wave. So what do you mean by this wave? This is nothing but the function y equal to f of x. Okay, so this wave at any particular time. So where will what will be the position of this pendulum? It is going on swinging. So if at certain time it stops, so what will be the position? That will be a question. So this is called actually. I hope you know what motion is this. Can anybody tell me what is the name of this motion? Can anybody tell me what is the name of this motion? Okay, so this is called Saktivel. Saktivel, you can give your answer in the chat box. Yeah, good. So he says simple harmonic motion. Yes. So this is a simple harmonic motion. Okay. So now this we would have studied. So now let us see, we are having some assumptions and variables. Okay, so what are the assumptions? Now friction from both air resistance and the system is negligible. We are not taking air resistance into account, and the pendulum swings in a perfect plane. There is no friction and all. So the arm of the pendulum cannot bend or stretch or compress. It is not flexible, so it is straight. And then the arm is massless. Actually, we neglect the mass of the arm. And also, we know that gravity is a constant. Now, what are the variables? So, variables here are involved is mass at the swinging end of the pendulum. So, that we take it as kilogram. And G is acceleration due to gravity. It is calculated in meter per second square. And L, capital L is the length from the point to the center of mass. And theta is the angle between the string position to the string position at rest. And T is time. Capital T is period of the pendulum. So this is what is the description of this figure. So we can see that so this theta and L is the length of the swivel point. That is this length of the point to the center, and we are having a mass here. So this this is actually we have to resolve into two directions. That is along x-axis and along y-axis. It will be mg sin theta and mg cos theta. And m into g is the force attracting towards the downwards. Now, so how do you derive a simple harmonic motion? That is from Newton's second law of motion only we are going to take. So we know that F is equal to m into a, that is mass into acceleration. This acceleration due to gravity will be a function of theta. So that we know. So when we resolve along x and y axis, we get theta. Then at theta, when theta is 90 degrees, acceleration is equal to g. And theta equal to 0 means a equal to 0. So, but we know that a equal to minus g sin theta when it goes, it is in the negative direction, and arc length of the pendulum is equal to L theta. So now acceleration of the system will now be a equal to L into d squared theta by dt squared. So putting everything together, now substituting this in the equation, we get a clear differential equation of second order. So what is this order? Everything we will be seeing. It is just an introduction. I just want you to know that from even simple birth, death, and simple harmonic motion, we can derive a differential equation. We can have a differential equation. So we should know from how to form a differential equation and also how to solve a differential equation. So what is the meaning? Meaning is from y to the differential equation d squared y by dx squared plus dy by something into dy, any differential equation, and given a differential equation, how to come back to y equal to f of x. Okay, so this is a differential equation. This is how we come to know about differential equation. And one more example. So this is a spring. Okay, so now as and when it springs, so you can see the equation is getting formed, and this is actually y equal to f of x. Now there are two springs, and they go inside each other. So now let us see what is the how we will be forming. Even here also we are going to take Newton's second law of motion, law of force. That is a, actually it is a dv by dt or d squared x by dt squared. That is the rate of change of velocity with respect to time. That is nothing but d squared x by dt squared. So here the spring pulls the mass back up based on how stretched it is. So there is some constant. So F force is directly proportional to the constant, but with a negative sign because it is pulling upwards. So opposite to the Earth's gravitation. So now, so it is a function of x of t and its second derivative d squared x by dt. Thus, you can see a differential equation in the spring also. Okay. So now let us see when it all started. Actually, when Newton invented calculus, and we saw in the first session that Newton and Leibniz invented parallelly at the same time, that is during 17th century. And so when they invented all itself in differential equation came into. Actually, Isaac Newton has written a book on Methodus Fluxionum et Stereo Infinitarium, and in that chapter it was written in 1671. So he has listed all the three differential equations. That is dy by dx is nothing but f of x, and dy by dx can be equal to f of x comma y also, and it is partial differential equation. That is when y depends upon two variables, two independent variables x1 comma x2, then we get this partial differential equation x1 dou y by dou x1 plus x2 dou y by dou x2 equal to y. So this actually Newton has developed some differential equation in his time itself. So it is not a differential equation we are seeing only now. So then itself it has come. Now another mathematician, he is Jacob Bernoulli. So he also lived in the same century. Years he proposed a differential equation, another differential equation. That is y dash plus p of x into y equal to q of x into y double dash. So this he proposed. So he just said that there will be some kind of an you can that is a practically you can invent this kind of a differential equation. That is what he proposed. But afterwards, next year, Leibniz gave solutions for this differential equation. So this is how the differential equation actually born. Now, let us go to the definition, actual definition. What is a differential equation? What is a differential equation? As I told you, an equation involving one dependent variable and its derivatives with respect to one or more independent variables. So that is called differential equation. So a differential equation should have one independent variable. And also, see, one independent variable means y equal to mx plus c. That is also an equation, but it is not a differential equation. But when you have on the left hand side or right hand side dy by dx or d squared y by dx squared, so then you call it as a differential equation. We can see one example here. So y equal to f of x. Now here, this you can differentiate. So when you differentiate, you get dy by dx. Okay. So the when it is differentiated, and you can form a differential equation dy by dx plus my equal to 0. This is one example of differential equation. Now another set of examples are dy by dx is equal to sin x e power y. So this is also a differential equation because one derivative is involved, and so 2 sin x e power y is there, and this is d squared. Second derivative is there. So that is actually it is sorry combined with the first derivative, you get an equation, differential equation, and this is the fourth derivative equation. And this on the right hand side, this is the partial differential equation, PDE we call. So dou u by dou x1 plus dou u by dou x. When there are more than one independent variable, you look into the partial differential equation. That is keeping one as a constant, and you are differentiating with respect to the other variable. That is partial derivative. So when you involve the partial derivatives of two or more variables, then you call it as partial differential equation. So dou u by dou x1 plus dou u by dou x2 equal to 0 is a linear equation. Why do you call it as a linear equation? Because it is actually power 1. So it is power 1. Then dou u by dou x1 plus dou u by dou x2 whole squared equal to 0 is non-linear, because see, when this becomes the solution, when you see in the power 2, that is when a derivative is raised to more than 2, power of more than 2, then it becomes very difficult to solve this kind of a equation. So this is called non-linear. So a linear equation, it is very simple. When it comes to non-linear, so we have to learn many methods. Then this is also non-linear because dou u by dou x1 plus dou u by dou x2 plus u is raised to power 2. That is why it is non-linear. And then see, this is linear, though it is second order. It is the second derivative, dou squared u by dou x1 squared plus dou squared u by dou x2 squared. That is the second derivative is involved equal to x1 because the variables are raised to power 1. That is why it is linear. Okay. So now next another thing is, it is a dou squared u by dou x1 squared plus u into dou squared u by dou x2 squared is a quasi-linear. So that is one special type of a linear equation. So now let us see what is the notation for differential equation. So here we can denote like this. The general notation is f of x comma y comma dy by dx d squared y by dx squared etc. d power n by dx power n equal to 0. This is the general ordinary differential equation of nth order. So this n, so which is the highest power, the highest derivative, that is called order, nth order So yeah, and this also can be written as x by y dash, because dy by dx we can denote by y dash, just because to make it simple. Now, what is order? Order is that is the first derivative or second derivative or third derivative, which is the highest order, highest derivative. So that is called order. This 2 is called order. And degree is, so whichever is raised to power, that is called degree. So if you have dy by dx whole cube, then that will be no, that is this order, the highest order, that is the highest derivative, no, which is raised to which power, that is called degree. That is a degree. Then you have, see some examples, dy by dx plus y squared equal to 4x. So here order equal to 1 and degree equal to 1. So d squared y by dx squared plus xy equal to sin x. This is order equal to 2 and degree also equal to, degree is 1. See, here you can see that x power 1, y power 1. Here the degree, actually when you, it is raised to power 2. Actually here the second term has got power 2. But we are not concerned about these things, only whichever the order. So which decides the order, the power of that alone decides the degree. Degree equal to 1. See, dy by dx whole square plus y equal to 5x squared. So here order is 1, but degree is 2. So I hope this is clear, because we have to understand first what is the order of a differential equation and what is the degree of a differential equation. So now, so as I told you, dy by dx can be denoted as y dash, and d squared y by dx squared can be denoted as y double dash, just for simplicity's sake. Now let us understand what is the differential equation. Now you can imagine a vehicle moving with a force of 10 newtons and with the velocity of 6 meters per second, and it has got mass as 5 kg. So now this we know that an equation which contains derivatives. So that is either ordinary or partial. It is called differential equation. So now m is moving mass of the moving object, and a is the acceleration of that moving object, and it is acted upon by the force F. So by Newton's second law, we have F is equal to ma. Now here you can say that a either dp by dt or a equal to d squared u by dt squared. U is the velocity at position. So v is the velocity of the object and u is the position function of the object at any time. So f here, f is also a function of time. So time, velocity or position. So you can take it as f is equal to ma. Now what are the classifications of differential equation? First we find that ordinary differential equation which has got only one independent variable. So this is an example, d squared y by dx squared minus a into dy by dx plus dy equal to f of x. This is of second order and first degree differential equation. Now, what is the next type? That is partial differential equation. So partial differential equation always involves partial derivatives. Dou squared y by dou t square minus c squared dou squared y by dou x squared equal to f of x comma y. Actually, partial differential equations is very, very helpful in technology. That is, in engineering, we can see many partial differential equations. But to start with, if you understand ordinary differential equation, then only you can go higher to the partial differential equations. Okay. So, and further classification, actually we are here. You can see that differential equation is divided into two, and ordinary differential equation also is divided in further divided into two. That is first order and higher order differential equation. So under first order, you have linear differential equation and non-linear differential equation. And again, higher order also you can divide that into linear and non-linear. And in partial differential equation also we can divide, you can classify similarly. That is first order differential equation and higher order differential equation. Because the first order differential equation is very simple, whatever be the case, whatever be the types, that is ordinary or partial. But when it goes to higher order, we just give a common procedure to solve the higher order differential equation. So that is why it is classified like this. So first order again, it can be linear and non-linear, and higher order also it can be linear and non-linear. So this is the classification of differential equation. Now we'll see some examples. You see here, you can see that a y double dash plus b y dash plus c y equal to g of t. So this is one. This is second order and first degree differential equation. Then sin y d squared y by dx squared equal to 1 minus y dy by dx plus y squared e power minus pi y. So this is another one. This comes under non-linear. So like this, you have many differential equations. So here the last three is partial differential equation. Alpha squared dou squared u by dou x squared equal to dou u by dou t. And this actually u suffix x. This is a representation of partial differential equation. That is, u is differentiated twice with respect to x, and here u is differentiated twice with respect to t. That is, u depends upon more than one variable and x comma t. X is one independent variable and t is another independent variable. So u depends upon these two. That is why we go to when we want to find the rate of change of u with respect to one variable. What you do is you keep one variable as a constant, you differentiate only with another variable. So that is how this is formed. Now we'll go to the solution. So what do you mean by a solution? Actually, it contains one arbitrary constant called a parameter. So this constant only takes, that is, it only builds the family of the curve. So parameter, that is called as parameter. Parameter is assigned various values. We obtain one parameter family of curves. For example, if you have x squared plus y squared equal to r squared, here r is a parameter. So for various values of r, you can form many circles with center as the origin. So x squared plus y squared equal to 1 squared, that is one curve. X squared plus y squared equal to 2 squared, that is another curve. But all are concentric, that is the center is same. So the parameter always builds the family. So that is called parameter. Each of these curves is a particular solution or integral curve of a given differential equation. So in a given differential equation, you can see the parameter. So based on that parameter, you can find the family of curves are coming, and each of these curves will have a particular solution. Now, conversely, actually, the curves of any one parameter family of some first order differential equation, that is f of x y c dash equal to 0. So, given an equation, you can find family of differential equation. Given a family of differential equation, you can come back to the equation, ordinary equation. So what we do, first differentiate implicitly with respect to x and get a relation form of the form like this, d of xy dy by dx. So first you differentiate this function f of xy c dash. Then if you can have another constant, not the same constant. So xy, if you differentiate, again we'll get a function like this. So when you differentiate dy by dx, maybe y also can be there, x also can be there, and another constant will be there. Because if you have y equal to 2x plus 3, that 3 will go when you differentiate. But in the 2x, you will get another constant as 2. So that is why these two constants are different. Next, what you do, you eliminate c from both the equations. So our job is to eliminate the constant. Then you finally arrive at this one, f of xy d by y. So this will be a differential equation. This is the required differential equation. So now, next. What do you mean by a solution? So we have started with dy by dx is a function of x, right? That is what Newton told. So dy by dx is equal to f of xy. It is a solution. That means when you start with dy by dx, some equation, actually on the right hand side you can find it as f of xy. So where f of xy is the solution, it is continuous function throughout some rectangle in the xy plane. So now here this is the rectangular plane. Now P naught is here, x naught comma y naught is a point in R. So in this rectangular plane, you have a point P0. P0 whose coordinates are x0 comma y0, and then dy by dx at P0. What is that? It is something that f at x0 y0. So that also will be a function, but it will be a function of x0 comma y0. Determines the direction at P0. So this is the meaning of the solution. Now let us understand with an example. So as I told you, you take one circle equation with center at origin. X squared plus y squared equal to c squared, where c is the parameter. C is the radius, and for each and every value of c, you can find one circle. So it is the equation of the family of all circles with centers at the origin. So now if you differentiate, what happens? So 2x plus 2y, because y is a function of x, we are taking y as an dependent variable and x as an independent variable. So when you differentiate, you will get 2y into dy by dx, and right hand side, since it is a constant, it becomes 0. So just cancel the 2, because 2 is not equal to 0, you can cancel. So x plus y into dy by dx equal to 0 is the differential equation. See, this is the so this is the differential equation of this family of curves. So when you graph this one, x plus y dy by dx equal to 0, then you will get the concentric circles as moved like this. So this is the this is the example of family of differential equations. Of course, differential equation also is a function of x comma y. So what are the types of solution? So now there are two types of solution, that is general solution and the particular solution. Actually, a solution means it should satisfy the given differential equation. Then only you call it as a solution. That is, from a differential equation, d squared y by dx squared plus c1 dy by dx equal to plus y equal to 0. So from that differential equation, when you do the process of solving it, you will arrive at one function y equal to f of x. So that y equal to f of x, again, when you substitute back in the given equation, it should get satisfied. So then only you call that y equal to f of x is a solution. So that kind of a solution, suppose if that solution contains as many arbitrary constants as the order of the differential equation. I hope you remember what is the order. Order is the highest derivative of the differential equation. So if suppose that solution consists as many arbitrary constants, that is, if it is of second order, then if the solution also has got two constants are still there, then you call it as a general solution, because for the varying constant you can get many solutions. That is why it is called general solution. Now suppose if you remove all the arbitrary constants, what happens? You get a particular solution. That is, this is the solution of the given differential equation, you can very well say. So that is the difference between general solution and particular solution. Okay. Now there are many stages of solution. First, understand the meaning of solving the ordinary differential equation. That is what we have seen in the text. So next, use your prior knowledge, and then using specific algebraic methods. That is, you know that see, you can find an auxiliary equation of the second order differential equation and convert it into algebraic equation. So that is a method we have devised. So once if you find the differential equation, first of all you have to convert it into, if it is a higher order, that is, it is not linear, it is non-linear, then what you do is you just change the differential equation into algebraic equation. So what do you mean by algebraic equation? That is, ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. This is called algebraic equation. There is no derivative involved here. That is called algebraic equation. So using specific algebraic methods for solving and selecting the appropriate method, so you can find a solution. So that method, see, there are many methods. That is why differential equation is a very vast chapter, and still research is going on, because there are many differential equations which is not yet solved. So that is why so you cannot find a solution for all the differential equations. So that is why there are many methods are there, and using an appropriate method, you can solve a particular ordinary differential equation. See, not only this job ends there, but you have to verify the solution. So how will you verify? See, for example, you can take y equal to e power 2x and y equal to e power 3x. See, for both, it has got solution y double dash minus 5y dash plus 6y. Because when you solve this, you get the solution as y equal to e power 2x and y equal to e power 3x. For this equation, you get two solutions. That is, see, here you can verify. When you take y equal to e power 2x, so find dy by dx. What is dy by dx? It is 2 e power 2x. So that is why. See, here we have put y dash 2 e power 2x. Then what is y double dash? Y double dash is differentiating this further. So e power ax, the derivative is a e power ax. So again, this 2 comes and get multiplied with this constant. That is 4. So this is your second derivative. 4 e power 2x minus 5 into 2 e power 2x plus 6 into e power 2x equal to 0. So this is the solution. And y equal to e power 3x. So y equal to e power 3x, if you find, see, when you first time differentiate, you get 3 e power 2x. So 5 into 3 e power 2x. Again, you differentiate 2 into 3, 6 e power 2x. No, sorry, here it is 3. I'm very sorry. So this 3. So 3 into 3, 9 e power 3x. So that is why we have put 9 e power 3x minus 15 e power 2x plus 6 e power 3x is equal to 0. So when you simplify this, what you are getting here, see, cancel all these 2 here. Here you will be getting 2. So here 2 e power 2x minus 5 e power 2x plus 3 e power 2x equal to 0. Here what you will get 3 e power 2. See, when you cancel this 3, you will be getting this. So y equal to 2 e power 2x and y equal to e power 3x, all are differential equation for this. So that is why you call this as y equal to c1 e power 2x. That is the combination of these two. You can add. So either this or this means you have to add y equal to c1 e power 2x plus c2 e power 3x. So now let us see how to form the differential equation. So that is given by, how will you go about a differential equation? Now, so in most of the physical phenomena, we can observe the process but cannot directly work out the differential equation. That is, we get the general solution at our disposal, but actually in experimentally we can observe that for a freely falling body, which is initially at rest, increases at a rate directly proportional to the square root of vertical distance it covers. So that is mathematically V is directly proportional to 2gh. That is the root of 2gh. Since we actually know the constant of proportionality. Okay. So now actually differentiate the expression with respect to time to get the relation between the body's acceleration and velocity. So just differentiate this given expression, and then so you get a relationship between the body's acceleration and velocity. So that will be that is the differential equation you are getting between the acceleration and velocity. So how will you form the differential equation? What is the procedure behind that? So now, as we see in the family of curves, if the given, you call it as F1. F1 of curves depends only one parameter. So F1 of xy comma a, that is equal to 0. This is the given equation. Now differentiate this with respect to x and a. That is y dash y x. First you differentiate with respect to x. Next you differentiate with respect to y, and then next you differentiate with respect to a also. Then you get some set of equations, and so eliminating a from all the equations, you get one solution, one equation, that is f of xy y dash equal to 0. Since y dash is involved here, this is the differential equation. Okay, so here we have actually eliminated the constant. So first you differentiate with respect to y, x and a, and even y dash if we want, which means you can go further to find out the second derivative also, because sometimes the constant cannot be eliminated. So that is why in some equations, so that is why you can go even up to third order or fourth order like that. So after that, in order to eliminate the constant, you have to differentiate till you are able to eliminate that particular constant. So that means finally you need a differential equation without any constant. So this is the procedure. Differentiate and try to eliminate. That's all. Elimination means you find the value of the constant from any one of the equation and then substitute in another equation. Then that constant is naturally eliminated. Now, suppose if you have two constants, so what will you do? See, this is also same procedure. Okay, so f2 of x by a comma b. Now differentiating that equation, you get another function, that is g x y dash a b. But two parameters means you need some more equation. So we need a third equation. Again, you differentiate. Then you will be getting, so first derivative, second derivative, both will involve. It get involved. So that is why, that is how you get the differential equation. This is a differential equation which involves y dash and y double dash, even a comma b. So when you want to eliminate this, you might you could have gone to other next derivative also, or if you are able to solve within three equations, if you are able to eliminate this AB, then you will be getting a final differential equation without the constants. So what are the types? So first type is separation of variables. So you can separate and find the solution. Here dy by dx is equal to x by y. That is, you cross multiply, you can say that y dy equal to x dx. So y dy means y squared by 2 plus c. Here x dx means x squared by 2 plus c. So this is the integrating. Upon integrating, you can find out y equal to f of x. Then what is the other one? First order linear, dy by dx plus p of xy equal to q of x. So this one, you need here we have a procedure to solve this. It is just like that you cannot see. This is a very simple equation, but this is little tougher, and still more tougher is the next one, homogeneous equation. Here we have to go for substitution and all. So y by x, dy by dx. Dy by dx is equal to f of y by x. This is homogeneous equation. So what do you mean by homogeneous equation? The definition also we are going to see. So y by x, it will be a function of y by x, maybe tan of y by x plus sine of y by x, like that. So that means it is a function of y by x. Now another one is Bernoulli's equation, that is dy by. So I hope you remember that Jacobi Bernoulli here divides this equation. So dy by dx plus p of x y equal to q of x into y power n, where n should not be equal to 0 or 1. So it should be higher order, y squared, y cubed, like that. So this is called Bernoulli's differential equation. Then second order homogeneous differential equation is this. That is, it is homogeneous. D squared y by dx squared plus p of x dy by dx plus p of x into y equal to 0. That is homogeneous equation. Then undetermined coefficients or variation of parameters. So both are same. So here you have variation of parameters, d squared y by dx squared plus p into dy by dx plus dy equal to f of x. There is a special method to solve this one. And of course, exact equation, that is m of x comma y dx, x comma y to 0. So if you divide throughout by dx, you will be getting n of x comma y dy by dx equal to minus m of x comma y. So this is how you will be proceeding with that. Then first we shall see one by one. So separation of variables. So first order, first degree. So that is important. Dy by dx is equal to f of xy, and this f of xy can be written as h of y g of x, because you are able to separate the variables. That is why you are able to write it as a product of purely a function of y into purely a function of x. So this is called separation of variables. So if h of y is not 0, then you can divide by h of y. That is 1 by h of y dy equal to g of x dy. Again integrating, you will be getting some function of h of y. That is If you integrate this, you will be getting a function of y that you call it as h of y. If you integrate this, you will be getting a function of x that we call it as g of x, plus of course we have to add a constant because this is an indefinite integral. So for indefinite integral, we have to add a constant that we have seen in integral calculus. Okay. So any doubts up to this? Any doubts? So participants, do you have any doubts? Yes. Okay, good. Mohammed, thank you. So I think I can proceed. Now, next type is first order differential equation. So the general first order equation is this one, xy dy by dx. There is no d squared y, so that is why. So we normally expect that in equation like this will have a solution. So the solution, so this will have, you can just find out the solution because dy by dx, you can, there are many methods. You can integrate, then you can find the solution. E power t dx like that, integral t dx. So you can have one method, then you can solve. But if you have like this dy by dx whole square plus 1, it has no real value solution. That means, see here you can see that dy by dx whole square equal to -1. So when it comes to -1 and left hand side it is a square, and if you want to eliminate the square, you have to take the square root. So when you take the square root on the right hand side, already there is a -1. So when you take the square root, that is not no more real. It becomes a complex number. So the procedure is of course different. So that is why there is no real solutions at all. Now, what is homogeneous differential equation? So for that you have to understand what is an homogeneous function. So a function f of xy is said to be homogeneous function of degree n if f of tx comma ty equal to t power n f of x comma y for any non-zero constant. So t should not be a zero. It is a constant. So t power n. So now look at this one. F of x comma y equal to x squared plus y squared. It is homogeneous. Why? Because if you substitute x as tx, you will be getting tx the whole square and y as ty. So you'll be getting t by the whole square. That is equal to t squared. If you take outside, you will get x squared plus y squared. That is again x squared plus y squared is nothing but f of x comma y. So that is why f of tx ty is equal to t squared f of x comma y. This 2 is called the order of degree. Sorry, it is called the degree. Degree 2. So whichever the t comes out, no. So sometimes it gets cancelled also. See here, you can see one more example. F of xy equal to e power y by x plus tan of y by x. When you substitute t here, what happens? So ty by tx, this t gets cancelled. Then here also t by tx, t gets cancelled. So which means f of xy remains f of x comma y itself. F of tx comma ty remains f of x comma y itself. That means that you can write it as t power 0. So that is why you call this degree as 0. Though it is homogeneous, it has got degree 0. So how will you find that homogeneous differential equation? So this is of the form dx by dy equal to f of x comma y. Of x comma y is homogeneous. So this function should be a homogeneous function. Okay. So then, so suppose if you have like this, that is reciprocal. You already we are talking about dy by dx, but here you are getting like this dx by dy. So when you have like this, you make the substitution for x by y equal to b or x equal to by. Then you can find f of xy as k times x by y. So this is the general solution because it has got one constant, and here you have first order. Okay. So now Bernoulli's differential equation. So what is Bernoulli's differential equation? Dx by dy by dx plus py equal to q. Here p and q are constants or functions of x. It can be constant or functions of x. So this is dy by dx plus y equal to, these are the things, these are the differential equations which comes under Bernoulli's type. So now next initial value problem. So an initial value problem is a differential equation along with an appropriate number of initial conditions. Actually, any differential equation, if you want to solve, you need some initial conditions or boundary conditions or initial value, initial conditions. Then only you will be able to find out the value of the constant. See, there are, I told you already that you can, when you want to form a differential equation, you can eliminate those constants uh, by substituting the constants. So that is by using the previous equations, then you can eliminate those constants. But if you are given a differential equation with constants, only if you have some initial value, you will be able to find out the value of the constant, because that constant keeps on coming till the end. So when we want to get a particular solution, then you need a initial boundary conditions, initial conditions. So this is an example. See, 4x squared y double dash plus 12x y dash plus 3y equal to 0. Given that y at 4 equal to 1 by 8, y dash of 4 equal to minus 3 by 64. And also one more example, 2t y dash plus 4y equal to 3, y of 1 equal to minus 4. So here you can see, you have to notice one thing. Here you have second order y double dash. So you are given two initial conditions. Here you have only first order. So one initial condition is enough. Okay. So that is why, because when you integrate, see, by dy by dx, when you want to go for the solution, of course it is understood that you have to integrate. So y dash means once you will integrate to get y function of y, which means you will, one constant will be involved. And if you want to get the solution here you are having y double dash, which means you need to integrate twice. So that naturally gives you two constants, C1 and C2. So to find out the value of those constants, you need two conditions. So what happens if y are in the see, you will be able to find the solution. Solution will be y equal to f of xy. So in that you put this value and 1 by 8. So you will be getting one equation. And you would have, so when you integrate, you would have gone to the first order. So y dash of 4 you will be getting. In that you substitute this one, so that you will be getting two equations, and then solving those two simultaneous equations, you can find out the constant, one. So if for this y of t equal to 3 by 4 plus c by t squared, the general solution, this is the general solution for this kind of a differential equation. 2t y dash plus 4y equal to 3. Okay, so it is y is a function of t. Now take this one, 2t y dash plus y of 1 equal to minus 4. So all solution to the differential equations are of the form y of t equal to 3 by 4 plus c by t squared. So when you integrate, so you can take this one dy by dt, 1 by t dy by 4 by 2y equal to 3 by 2. And so if you go for solve this using initial condition, you get y of 1 equal to minus 4, you put y minus 1, t as minus 1. So when you put t as minus 1, you will be getting y of 1. Sorry, t as plus 1. So if you put t as plus 1, you will be getting y of 1. So that is nothing but minus 4. So here t as 1, 3 by 4 plus c by 1 squared. So you're getting the value of c. So the actual solution of the IVP is y of t equal to 3 by 4 minus 19 by 4 t squared. So this is how you have to use the initial values. So first order linear differential equation. How will you solve? What are the steps involved? First, you write the given differential equation in the form dy by dx plus py equal to q. So p, q are constants of functions of x alone. So it should be either p of x, p is a function of x, or some constant, that is 3y, 4y, like that. So if this is the case, then first step is find the integrating factor. That is, this is called the integrating factor. E power integral p dx. So of course we know that p either it is a function of x or it is a constant. Hence integrating this becomes meaningful. So if it is a constant, you take this p outside, it will be simply x, the constant into x. If it is a p of x, maybe some polynomial or some other function sin x or cos x, then you can integrate. So integrate that function, then you will be getting one function of x. If it is a function of x, either you can get a function of x or you will be getting some value. Okay, so anyway, so this integrating factor, you will be able to find out what is this. So in the power, you have to integrate. Then write the solution as equal to integral q into integrating factor dx plus c. So this is the solution. Y of integrating factor is equal to this one. So now y into integrating factor and x into integrating factor is q1 into integral dy plus c. So in the case, suppose if you have in this form, if you have dy by dx, this will be your solution. If you have dx by dy, this will be the solution. It will be x into integrating factor, that is equal to integral q1 into integrating factor dy plus c. So you can integrate this one, you will be getting a value plus one constant you have to add. So here y into integrating factor is nothing but e power integral p dx. So y into e power integral p dx, that is e power something you will be getting, y times e power some x or some constant you will be getting. No, if you will be getting some constant x only, e power constant times x is equal to integral of q you know that is on the right hand side. So this will be either a function of x or some constant. So into whatever the answer you are getting here, you put here. So q into integrating factor, if it is a constant, you bring outside, otherwise you multiply with this integrating factor. So it will be multiplied and then you apply the methods of integration here. If it is x into sin x, you go for udv or something like that or substitution. Then you can integrate this easily. So after integrating, you will be getting a function of x in this for this term. And of course, left hand side already that is a function of x and y into e power something into x. This is equal to some function of x plus c. So this is the solution for this given differential equation. So if the differential equation is like this, dx by dy, but still you know, see dx by dy plus p1x plus q1. That is, if you have this kind of a differential equation, then go according to that. So here the same procedure applied, but instead of y, you will put x times integrating factor equal to integral q1 times integrating factor dy plus. So this is how you solve that differential equation. Okay. So here x into dy by dx plus 2y equal to x squared. Now given that x not equal to 0. So how will you solve? Now you write this dividing both sides by x. So 2 by xy equal to x. Now you can identify with this type dy by dx plus py equal to q. So this p is a function of x, this q also is a function of x. So p is 2 by x and q is equal to x. What is the integrating factor? E power integral 2 by x dx, that is e power 2 log x, and this is equal to x squared in x squared. E power log x squared means, see 2 log x, you bring this 2 to the power of x, and then e power log x squared. We know that e and log are reciprocal to each other. So you will be finally getting as x squared. So therefore the solution is given like this: y times x squared equal to integral of q into integrating factor dx plus c. That is, q is x and integrating factor is x squared. No, sorry, q is x squared, integrating factor. Yeah, q is x and integrating factor is x squared. So x cubed dx plus c. This x cubed, when you integrate, you can realize that x power 4 by 4. It is x power 4 by 4 plus c into, actually it is y into x squared. Here you will be getting x power 4 by 4 plus c, isn't it? But this x squared you have to bring to the right hand side. So that means already there is an x power 4 divided by x squared will give you x squared and c by x squared. So this is the general solution of this integral equation, this differential equation. Okay. So now one more one more method, that is, it is a homogeneous equation with constant coefficient but of second order. D squared y by dx squared plus a into dy by dx plus dy equal to 0. Here only I told you that we have to use the auxiliary equation, that is, you are converting this differential equation into an algebraic equation. How you are converting? You simply substitute dy by dx as some variable, and d squared y by dx squared as m squared. So this becomes a quadratic equation. So this quadratic equation will have two solutions. Those two solutions may be equal, or may be real and equal, or real and distinct, or imaginary also. So for each of the case, you have to write the solution like this. So the solution will be, if it is real and distinct, then you simply write y equal to a e power alpha x plus b e power beta x. So then how do you solve this a and b? How do you find the value of a and b? This is why we say that initial value problem. This, if it is if the initial conditions are given, you will be able to find out a and b here. Okay. Then if it has got repeated real solution, that is, if the discriminant et equal to 0. So how will you solve this? M equal to minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac by 2j. So if that b square minus 4ac is 0, then it will be minus b divided by 2a. That is 2 times a. That is a repeated root. So if that is the case, then you write the solution as ax plus b into e power alpha x. So this again a and b, here you need two initial conditions, because it is of order 2, you need two initial conditions. So if you have two initial conditions, then you will be able to find out a and b. Writing those initial conditions, substituting those initial conditions, you can find out. Then if it is a complex conjugate, that is, if b square minus 4ac is less than 0, then definitely you will be getting minus b plus or minus I into root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. So that will give you, as you can take it as real part plus I into imaginary part, that is alpha plus I beta and alpha minus I beta. So for this you write the equation as e power alpha x a cos beta x plus b sin beta x. So for all these things you have proofs. So, but I'm not going to tell you those proofs, because more than that, more important is we want to find out, have some knowledge about direction. When you want to find out the differential equation practically, whatever the equations we are obtaining practically, we should know about direction fields. Here you can see that it is about the freely falling objects. So what is this? See, a ball when it falls freely. Now here weight is a constant. So that means W can be written as mg. Then you have the resistance. Air resistance, of course, depends on square of velocity. So how do you, rho is the density of air, and b is the velocity of the falling body, and capital A is the area of the body, and then CD is the drag coefficient. So it depends upon the shape and surface roughness of the object. So this is the D is drag. Resistance depends on square of velocity, drag resistance. Then, so of course, anyway, we have to use only Newton's second law. F is equal to ma. So now A will be F by m. So that is equal to W minus D. So that so F by m force is, there are two forces in W minus the dragging force. Okay, so that is W minus D by m. So when drag is equal to weight, what happens? K becomes 0. When drag force is equal to weight force, then A becomes 0, which means if acceleration is 0, velocity is constant. That will be the terminal velocity. Okay, so here some notes. Now assume that forces acting in the downward direction are positive. See here, downward direction, if you have, you See, we have to fix something. So when the force acts downward, when the pull is downward, you assume it to be positive. Then if it is going upward, then because it is against gravity, so you take it as negative. So an object moving downward will always have a positive velocity. Now let Fg be the force due to gravity and Ft is equal to mg. So g is the acceleration due to gravity. Now Fa is the force due to air resistance. So that means it is pulling upwards. That is that air, it pulls, that is it makes the object go upwards. So that force. So that is why we are taking it as negative minus some constant b. But the gamma is greater than 0. Then only it will be a negative. So the negative is required to get the correct sign on the force. That is why we are putting minus. Okay, so gamma and keep the condition that gamma is always greater than 0. So now let us see what happens. Now this falling object you consider with a mass m. Okay, m is falling. So there are two forces acting on that. So when solved, we'll give us the velocity of so we want to find out the velocity of the object at any time. That is our aim. Assume that only gravity and air resistance will act upon the object as it falls. So forces acting on the downward direction are positive and forces acting on the upward direction are always negative. And of course, velocity is positive. So use the Newton's second law of motion. Now you consider this as a function of P, V. It is a sum of forces that act on the object. So that is how we have to consider F here. So force means it is the sum of force. That is upward force and downward force, both summed up. It should be summed up. Of course, the upward force will have a negative sign. So sum of forces that act on the object. Two forces acting on the object, gravity. That is Fg and Fa. Now, so you add m dv by dt equal to mg minus gamma v. So what is dv by dt? That will be g minus gamma v by m. So first order linear differential equation that will give velocity of a falling object of mass m. So here if you solve this, you will be getting the velocity. So now here we are going to look at the direction field. Now our assumption, so some numerical assumption we shall take, that is mass of 2 kg. So you take that mass as 2 kg and gamma is some value 0.392. So substitute here, that is 9.8 minus 0.196b. Now we get, suppose if you have at any time, at any particular time, if it is the velocity happens to be 30 meter per second. See, we are not saying always the velocity is 30 meter per second, but at any particular time, at some time, if you see that velocity is 30 meter per second, then you substitute this velocity here. You will be getting dv by dt as 3.92. So what happens is, if the velocity of this object is ever 30 meter per second for any time t, the velocity must be increasing at that time. Now, so the value of the derivative at a particular value of t gives the slope of the tangent, that we know. So the slope of the tangent is nothing but the value of the derivative. So if you have dv by dt at a particular point, you can find the tangent line to the graph of the function at the time t. So if for some time t, velocity happens to be 30 meter per second, then the slope of the tangent line to the graph of the velocity will be 3.92. Now, like this, pick different values of v. See, 30 meter per second or 60, like that. You just go on changing the velocity, then compute the slope of the tangent line for those values of the velocity and identify the values of the velocity that will have zero slope or horizontal tangent lines. Okay. Then set the derivative equal to 0, then solve for v. So this is the procedure. I repeat once again. See, here we have, I go to the previous slide. See, here we have taken mass and gamma as a constant. Now, see, d is a dependent variable at time t. That means v varies according to t. Okay. So when the time varies, velocity also will vary. So now we are taking how we are going to find in what direction it is there. That is velocity at any particular time. You assume that to be first 30 meter per second or even any value for that matter. So V is one example we are taking 30 meter per second. So dV by dt, you calculate. So if you substitute and simplify, your calculator will give you the value as 3.92. So now velocity of this object whenever, so at a particular time, so you can find the at a particular time you can draw the tangent line because dv by dt, it is nothing but tangent. Now so what we have to do is pick different values of v. So v equal to 35, v equal to 40, or v equal to 60, like that. Then what are you doing? Compute the slope of the tangent line for those values of the velocity. For each velocity, you compute the slope of the tangent line. Then identify the values of the velocity that will have zero slope. Okay. So for that value, wherever there is zero slope, those velocity you identify. That is called horizontal tangent lines. And set the derivative equal to 0 and solve for v. Okay. So if you put equal to 0, then you will be able to solve for v. See another example. Consider only one value of the velocity which will have horizontal. Now let us assume that there is only one value of the velocity wherein we are getting horizontal tangent length v equal to 50 meter per second. So for some time t, the velocity happens to be 50, which means what? At a particular time t, the velocity is 50 meter per second. That means the tangent line at the point will be horizontal. Okay, that is what is our finding. Now, what the slope of the tangent line is at times before and after this point is not known yet. So 50 meter at this point of time, before and after we don't know. So if we have v equal to 50, we know that tangent line will be horizontal. So this is the direction, that is the direction of the velocity will be horizontal. Now, continuing to give values for v. So as I told you, so you continue to get, and then you draw the graph, you will be getting the graph like this. So what does this give us? It sketch of solution is, now here we can understand that in this way. These are the implications. Since the arrows in the direction fields are in fact tangents to the actual solutions to the differential equations, we can use these as guides to sketch the graphs of solution to the differential equation. So this you can take the guide. Now, in the long run, what happens? Actually, so in many cases, actual solutions to differential equations behave as t increases. So, if we can get our hands on them, can be used to find information about this long-term behavior of the solution. So this we will see some more. That is, suppose that we want to know what the solution that has a value v of 0 equal to 30. That is, if at time t equal to 0. So if what will be the solution? So at time t equal to 0, if v of 0 equal to 30. That is, at time t equal to 0, if the velocity happens to be 30. Okay. So we can, at this point of the solution, it is actually increasing. So as it increases, the solution should flatten out because the velocity it will be approaching the value of v is equal to 50. So now this is the figure we are getting. So drawing an increase, so like this we have to. Okay. So this is it should stay parallel, somewhat parallel it should stay. So this is all about direction fields. Okay. So now actually, so like this, if you continue, you can get a family of solution curves. So this is the family of solution you are getting. A set of solutions will be graphed like this, and you get the family of solution for the direction field. Now next is actually existence and uniqueness. So as I told you, whether we should know whether first the differential equation, the solution exists, and if at all it exists, whether it is unique. So this is the question. Now, does an initial value problem always a solution? How many solutions are there? Okay. So if at all it has got a solution, how many solutions? Whether it is a single solution or many solutions. Because when you differential equation, you are happen to be to integrate. Okay. So when you integrate, a constant comes in. And depending upon the value of the constant, you can get many solutions. So that is why this question arises. If the functions p and g are continuous on the interval I alpha to beta, t lying between alpha and beta, containing the point t equal to t naught. So here one particular t naught in this interval you can find. Then there exists a unique function y equal to phi of t that satisfies the differential equation. So this differential equation, if you solve, you will get one particular function y equal to phi of t. That is y equal to f of t. It is a one solution. So imagine that y dash plus p of t y equal to g of t has got one solution, that is y equal to f of t. Now, suppose if p and g are continuous on the interval. So in one particular interval you are taking, that is alpha comma beta open interval. Now that interval you have one particular value of t, that is t naught. Say t is equal to some 0.5 seconds or like that. Now, if it is that case, then there is one particular solution y equal to phi of t. Of course, we know that. So in that interval, you can find one the function to be equal to this phi of t. This kind of a function you are finding. So for each t in I, and that also satisfies the initial condition. This function y at t naught should be equal to y naught. That also should be satisfied, where y naught is an arbitrary prescribed initial value. So any differential equation, if one initial value is prescribed, see, not only this function is exists here, it also should satisfy this one, y of t naught equal to y naught. Okay, so understand clearly, if in this interval, if you have some value of t equal to t naught, then you can find, now this equation has got a solution y equal to some function of t. So at this particular integral, if t equal to t naught exists, then particularly for this interval, you can say that y equal to phi of t is the solution. Only if it satisfies the initial condition. This y, which means, so y of t naught should be equal to phi of t naught. Phi of t naught should be equal to y naught. So whatever the value, y naught is some constant. So whatever the value is given, so when you substitute here that value, you should get y naught here. So phi of t naught should be equal to y naught. So this is the initial existence. So the theorem guarantees that the given initial value problem will always have existence of exactly one solution, isn't it? So on any interval, on any particular interval, you have only one solution when both are continuous. Okay. So the largest of such intervals is called the interval of validity. Now, if see here you are taking this alpha and beta. Suppose if you are taking it as 1, 2. Now, you can expand this interval also. That is, you can take this as 1, 50 or 2, 100 like that. You can expand. That will be a largest interval, largest of such intervals. Many intervals you can find many functions. Y equal to phi 1 of t, y equal to phi 2 of t, y equal to phi 3 of t for many alphas and betas. That is alpha 1, beta 1, alpha 2, beta 2. Like that you can find many intervals. Now there will be some one largest interval of all those intervals. Okay, it's called the interval of validity. So that interval is called the interval of validity of the given initial problem. So the interval of validity is the largest interval. So now how will you define the interval of validity? First of all, it should contain t naught. That largest interval should contain t naught. Now, or it does not contain, and it does not contain any discontinuity of p of t nor g of t. See, there should not be any discontinuous, because we are assuming first of all it is p of t and g of t are continuous in that interval. Okay. See, even in the interval of validity, the largest interval also this should happen. That is, P of t and g of t should be continuous in the largest interval, and also that interval should contain t naught. So conversely, neither existence nor uniqueness of a solution is guaranteed at a discontinuity of either P of t or G of t. So if there is a discontinuity, you cannot say whether it is, see, you can neither you cannot say that, you cannot guarantee, may exist, may not exist. So that is the argument here. Now, unless T naught is actually a discontinuity of either P of t or G of t, there always exists a non-empty interval of validity. So if T naught makes this two functions discontinuous, that is, if you put T naught in P of t in some polynomial or function, then if that function becomes discontinuous at that particular point, then there always exists a non-empty interval of validity. Okay, but still there is some value. If T naught is a discontinuity of either P of t or G of t, then interval of validity will be empty. Okay, so in such a case, the conditions that the interval must contain T naught and that it must not contain a discontinuity will be contradictory. So here this argument is contradicting. So such an initial value problem is not guaranteed to have a unique solution. Okay, so that means the uniqueness is not guaranteed. So consider this initial value problem. Now cos of t y dash minus sin of t into y equal to 3t cos t with the given initial condition as y of 2 pi equal to 0. Now rewrite this. Y dash, that is divided by cos t. You will be getting y dash minus tan t by equal to 3t. Okay, dividing by cos t, right hand side will be left with 3t. With the p of t is minus tan t and g of t is 3t. Okay, you are taking this p of t. Tan t is p of t and g of t is 3t. So g of t is always continuous because it is a polynomial function. It is a continuous function. So in whatever be the interval, this will be continuous. But what about tan t? It has got some discontinuous. So I hope you remember the graph of tan. So it has got many discontinuous. So discontinuous at all odd number of pi by 2, odd values of pi by 2, where minus as well as plus, it has got discontinuous. Okay. So now, according to the existence theorem, so a continuous and differentiable solution of this initial value problem is guaranteed to exist uniquely on any interval containing t naught equal to 2 pi, but not containing any of the discontinuities. Okay, so here you can find that largest such interval is 3 pi by 2 comma 5 by 2, 5 pi by 2. So the actual solution is given to be y of t equal to 3t tan t plus 3 minus 3 secant t. So this is this solution is defined everywhere within this interval, but not in the endpoints. That is why we call it as, we go for open intervals. Okay. So this is an example of existence and uniqueness. Now, so points to ponder. Given a differential equation, will a solution exist? Okay. Then if a differential equation does have a solution, how many solutions are there? And what conditions on a differential equation are required to obtain a single unique solution to the differential equation? If a differential equation does have a solution, can we find it? Okay. So can anybody answer these questions? Have you understood? Have you understood? Any questions? Participants, any questions?
Participants, please type your questions in the chat box.
No questions. Okay, which means, so the answers, you just keep thinking till tomorrow. Tomorrow I will give you the answer. Okay. Any doubts? Any doubts? course, this is a somewhat dry subject, but still, see, if you want to proceed engineering, it is necessary for you to know about differential equation, because differential equation is a very, very powerful tool to predict as well as to find the origin function, or to predict everything.
Participants, you have any doubts, please post it in the chat box.
So we should know whether you have understood or not. So participants, just say something, whether any point has to be clarified further.
Any topic has to be repeated, you can just put it across in the chat box. Anything to be repeated, participants?
Well understood.
Okay.
Kirtana, yes, Kirtana, you can type in the chat box, ma. Because when we unmute, then there will be some chaos. So please type it, I will explain.
Thank you, Tamil Selvi ma'am. Thank you, participants. So if you have any further questions or clarifications, you can get in touch with Tamil Selvi ma'am through her mail ID. So ma'am's mail ID, I'm just typing in the chat box. Okay, this is ma'am's mail ID. So you can just send a mail to ma'am if in case you have any clarifications. And tomorrow, the timings will be our usual timing, and the meeting ID will be today's meeting ID. It is the same meeting ID which we have used today, and the timings will be from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Okay, and I have also posted the attendance and feedback form for today. I request all the participants to please fill up the attendance and feedback form, and without fail, we would require both the days attendance form to be there for providing an e-certificate.
And ma'am, Sujata
Yes,
ma'am,
ma'am. Yes,
just
ma'am.
tell them that feedback form is necessary to get a certificate. Otherwise, afterwards, if they ask the certificate, we won't be able to.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. See, we are finding that many of you appear either during day 1 session or day 2 session. So please, I request all the participants to be available on both the days. If you're ready to, if you have registered, please participate both the days, so that it will be easy for you to get a continuity of what is being taken during the workshop. So, and for certificate, only people who fill up the attendance form during the, when the link is provided at the end of the meeting, only will be eligible for the e-certificate. Later on, see, tomorrow the timings are from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Usual timings. Tomorrow it is 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. the timings, and it is the same meeting ID. Sure, Mohammed. We will notify that about our future workshops also. Any other questions, participants?
I think
Okay,
we can wind up.
Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am, one question to the participants. See, participants actually you say that no doubts, but can I know that what makes you interesting to attend this session? Why do you want to learn differential equation?
Ma'am, your question is not clear, ma'am.
Ma'am, why do they want to learn differential equation?
The question is, why do you attend this workshop? Why you are interested in attending
Yeah,
this
yeah,
workshop?
yeah.
Somebody answer, why you are interested in attending this mathematics workshop?
Whether you want to proceed engineering or this will helpful for your college studies or like that.
Ma'am, that could be put on feedback form tomorrow.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
So we will include that, whether they want to pursue their this thing.
Oh, Saktivel says that the term bridge course. Good. Okay.
The bridge course is bridging the gap between your school studies and engineering. If something you have not learned in your school, which would be helpful for your engineering studies, we have put it as bridge course.
It was not. Okay. Okay, thank you for your feedback. Very good. Thank you. And I welcome you all for all the further future sessions also. So whenever Alpha thinks about the students always. Alpha College of Engineering is only for students, not restricted to our college students alone. So our management and principal ma'am so always think about the students' welfare. So that is why they are conducting such kind of webinars. So this management is focused more on students. So more than the faculty, more on students they focus. So I invite all the +2 students to come and join in Alpha to have a better education. Actually, that better education is guaranteed in Alpha. So that you can be sure of that. So please do attend all the future events, whatever be the session Alpha College of Engineering conducts. I invite everybody to attend. Thank you.
Thank you all. Ma'am, we will wind up the meeting if you.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.